Jujutsu Kaisen 0, also known as Jujutsu Kaisen, the movie, is an anime film based on the popular manga and anime series Jujutsu Kaisen. The Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is a prequel manga to the main series, which is 4 chapters long, taking place 1 year before Itadori's time. Because of the story's unique position as being technically both a prequel to the primary plot, but also the first story set in this world, the film acts as a sort of lost pilot episode for the main Jujutsu Kaisen anime. Both the film and show follow a high schooler who gets control of an incredibly powerful cursed spirit and is therefore enrolled into the Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School to help him control the spirit or execute him if he gets too difficult. Along the way, they make some friends, experience some losses, and fight a big baddie. The movie delves into the backstory of Yuta Okkotsu, a meek and gloomy protagonist with a bleak look at life and its worth. He is a high school student haunted by a cursed spirit named Rika. Through a flashback, we learn how both she and Yuta were childhood friends. She gave Yuta an engagement ring on his birthday, promising each other that they'll get married when they grow up, and now haunts Yuta all the time. Rika's spirit lingers bound by the curse that feeds on Yuta's emotions. Because of her overwhelming strength, Yuta doesn't know how to control her user, which brings us here. We first get introduced to Yuta in a secret execution chamber, which interestingly enough parallels the same way we were introduced to Itadori Yuji in the anime. Yuta disagrees with the decision of the higher-ups of Jujutsu High School to execute Yuta and allows him to become a sorcerer instead. Throughout their many exchanges in this prequel, Yuta reveals that he may be the one who has cursed Rika instead of Rika cursing him. Yuta tells he's believed that love manifests the most distorted curses. Determined, Yuta now wants to unravel the mystery behind Rika while attending Jujutsu High School. This is where Yuta is introduced to first-year students Meiki, Panda, and Tagayi. Yuta's interaction with each of these 3 characters are essential to his character development as a sorcerer. He first pairs up with Maki on a mission to exorcise a curse at an elementary school. Yuta learns the basic of curses and how they manifest in crowded places due to people's negative emotions with those places. Maki's abrasive attitude tells Yuta to stop acting passive and playing the victim card, and that if he wants to understand his feelings better, he needs to get comfortable with exorcising curses. Through her words, he's reminded why he wants to stop running away from his problems and confront them head-on, finding a reason to live. Months later, we see Yuta better developing his skills as a sorcerer, with Panda asking Yuta arguably the most important thing in this entire prequel. While Maki's beating Panda after that remark, Gojo sends Tage out on a mission telling Yuta to tag along. At this time, Tage was a grade 2 sorcerer. Yuta learns about Tage's techniques and his drawbacks, which Tage can use words as attacks, but depending on how strong his opponents are, it can backfire on Tage himself. Effortlessly, taking out the excess of cursed spirits, an even bigger threat confronts behind them. Dropping his throat medicine while evading attack from the curse, Tage tells Yuta to refrain from battling while Tage takes the curse all on his own. Remembering why he's in Jujutsu High in the first place, Yuta refuses and instead teams up with Tage to battle the curse. Recalling just how much of a bro Tage has been to him the entire time during this battle, Yuta finds an opportunity to throw the throat medicine to Tage so Tage can deliver the final blow to the monster. Working together, developing a strong kinship with Tage. In addition to his experience he gained with Maki, Yuta is slowly but surely shedding out of his shy and timid shell, becoming more of a competent individual. It's revealed moments later, the curse Tage and Yuta fought was brought by none other than Geto. The second half of this prequel gives us some key information about Geto. The Geto has spent time under the facade of a Buddhist monk, cleansing people of their curses. In that time, he has amassed a number of cursed spirits from cursed humans, as well as a live source verse, who wish to see his dream of a reality without non-source verse, and curses come true. He's considered one of the 4 special grades Jujutsu Source verse to Geto's plan to work. He needs to eliminate his biggest threat, which is Jujutsu High School. Making a grand entrance at Jujutsu High School, Geto and his allied sorcerers introduces themselves to Yuta and the other first years. He tries to recruit Yuta to join his side while insulting the other 3 first years, but specifically calling out Maki as a monkey. Gojo and Yaga arrive to the scene, and this is where Geto announces his plan for the night parade of 100 demons. Geto quickly realizes his chances of winning the war is less, but the true objective for the night parade was to isolate Yuta so that he can steal curse of Rika himself. While everyone in Jujutsu High prepares for the incoming attack in Shinjuku and Kyoto, Maki and Yuta are left behind at the school. Yuta learns about Maki's past as a Zenin and why she's labeled as a failure. Despite her handicaps as a sorcerer, Yuta admires Maki's strong and resilient personality and wants to be just like her in the future. But both of them are alone. Geto casts a curse around the school, blocking Maki and Yuta from escaping. Gojo, realizing that Geto isn't at the front lines in either Kyoto or Shinjuku, he quickly sends both Panda Toge back at Jujutsu High while he takes care of Geto's allied sorcerers and curses spirits. Panda and Toge make a valiant effort to fight Geto, but it becomes pretty one-sided, and Yuta arrives through the scene witnessing his fellow first years on the brink of death. Angered, enraged by the sight of his injured friends, Yuta calls on Rika's power and fully manifests her vengeful spirit form. For the second time now, faces off against Geto alone. The final chapter is a scuffle between both competitors. Attending Jujutsu High for less than a year, Yuta's skills as a sorcerer has exponentially increased. We see examples of this sprinkled throughout the battle. Yuta used advanced reverse curse technique to heal Panda and Toge and Maki. Yuta gains complete control over Rika, tells her he owes his life to Maki and to place her down gently. Yuta then pulls out a megaphone with the Toge family curse sigil. Yuta commands all Geto's centipede-like curses to die, instantly detonating them all on command. Geto is impressed at Rika's sheer amount of boundless cursed energy can be shaped into any technique, making him want her more and more. Geto is amazed with how much Yuta can learn another advanced technique. Both Yuta and Rika follow up with their next attack, but Geto blocks the katana and Rika's fangs with different parts of the staff at the same time. The ex-Jujutsu student uses the opportunity to educate Yuta, attempting to teach him about the evils of the weak, trampling on the strong using sheer numbers. Geto reminds Yuta to only apply a little bit of cursed energy at a time, but he's interrupted when Yuta delivers a powerful left hook that smashes Geto's face back and sends the man reeling, flipping to the ground from the impact. Yuta tells Geto that he needs to believe he's allowed to live, and to do that, he needs to kill Gitu for hurting his friends. Asa. The battle continues. Yuta slowly starts reading Gitu's movement. Yuta makes a devastating blow to Geto. Geto cultivated Uzumaki some point after mastering his innate technique. With no other choice, Yuta commits his life to Rika and empowers her with a kiss. Essentially, sacrificing himself to surpass the limits of cursed energy, Rika evolves into an evil, more powerful form, opening her cyclopoid evil eye. Geto calls him a womanizer, but Yuta believes this is pure love. A beam of Rika's concentrated cursed energy classes with maximum Uzumaki, creating a gigantic explosion that concludes the battle for good. Geto barely escapes with his life, as the entire right side of his body has been singed and nearly destroyed. He believes he will get her next time, but Gojo finds him shortly after. Disappointed, Satoru wishes Geto could at least curse him at the very end. Meanwhile, Yuta wakes up from the battle to Panda, Toge, and Maki. They're alive thanks to him, but he claims he has to go with Rika now. However, Rika's cursed form crumbles apart and Satoru arrives to reveal the curse has been broken. He reveals that Yuta cursed Rika's spirit with his cursed energy by rejecting her death when they were kids. Exceeding the limits of that power, freed Rika's spirit, unbending the curse from her at last. Yuta and Rika say their last goodbyes as she reveals she was happier with Yuta as a curse than she was when she was alive through Gojo's own investigation. It turns out that Yuta is very special in his own right, being a descendant of Sugawara Michizane, who is one of Japan's 3 greatest apparitions, and that's how the Jujutsu Kaisen 0 movie comes to an end.